What resolution should you use? It's a question as old as time, and one that doesn't have a straight answer. At the first CS2 major, 4:3 resolutions took up over 84% of the resolutions used, with 1280 by 960 being the most popular choice, with a staggering 53.7%. There's been many reasons said why this is the most popular resolution. Your targets are wider, so they're easier to see and shoot. Your FPS will be smoother and faster. And of course, that is a boomer resolution, and it's been copied through the generations of players from 1.6. All of these reasons are pretty much true and quite valid. But does that make it the best resolution, especially with some of its cons? Let's take a look in-game to see how each res compares. Let's start off by looking at 1280 by 960 since it's the most used. It's decent enough quality, but most importantly, those T's are looking fat and wide, making those heads easier to see and shoot. However, it's a little cramped, so with this resolution, you're losing some FOV, which can really be important at some times. Now, let's swap over to 1920 by 1080. Now that looks nice. Everything is so clean and more clear. And the best part, we got more FOV, so we can see a lot more to those sides. Imagine if there's another T next to the left side one. I wouldn't even be able to see that on 4:3. Only issue, they're looking a little thin and harder to see, especially at a range. Another thing to note, on 1280 by 960 or in any 4:3 res, targets are going to move a little faster across your screen, and it'll just feel quicker overall compared to 1920 by 1080 or any 16 by 9 resolution. So where the players appear thinner, it feels slower. Here's a quick comparison between the two. Now let's look at these resolutions side by side so we can really tell the difference between aspect ratios. You can really see where 16 by 9 outshines 4:3 in field of view. However, the targets in 4:3 are just so much easier to see and wider, so it's a lot easier to see them when you have to aim on them. Here are another few resolutions that you might see recommended online, along with their aspect ratio. The big difference between 5:4 and 4:3 is 5:4 is a bit more wider, which means you're losing a bit more FOV, but you do get those wider targets. Don't use this one. Now, let's test the average FPS on each res. How I conducted it was running in the straight line on the map aimbots while using GeForce Experience to export a performance log and then averaging the FPS during the run. I'd say it was pretty accurate. My system specs will be in the description for reference. The outcome might be a bit surprising to some people, as you'll see resolution really doesn't affect performance as much as you would think it does. You can see that on my system, I'm saving only about 10 FPS using 1280 by 960. However, if you have a weaker system, you may benefit a bit more lowering your res. If you're on a modern system and you think you're saving lots of frames using 4:3, think again, and maybe you should actually use 16 by 9 and get the better clarity and FOV benefits. Overall, there's no best res, and it's really about what you prefer. In short, the pros and cons of both 4:3 and 16 by 9 are below, so it's really what you value more. For any new player, I would recommend playing with both aspect ratios for about a week to see what works best for you. And of course, there's 16 by 10, however this is sort of just right in between 4:3 and 16 by 9, so you're not really going to get the benefits from either of them, so I wouldn't really say it's worth it. Hopefully this video helped you choose what resolution to use and all the good comparisons helped you. Remember to like this video and subscribe if you want some more. Peace.